I'm Isaac, and we did this crazy thing, so I was going to tell you about it. This is about me. So I'm sort of this like serial infrastructure founder person. 15 years ago, I did this thing called Makara. It became Red Hat OpenShift when they acquired us, and I stayed for a while and built that. And then I left and got really interested in Node.js. And so I commercialized Node.js and helped build the Node.js foundation, and that became bought by IBM, and that was their API management thing. And then I took a little brief tour on Sand Hill Road. I recently sold another company I co-founded to F5, which was an AI security gateway, and now I'm working on Orama, which I'll call an agent platform for now. We have a focus on generative UX, but here we're talking about this crazy thing we built, which is a database mashed up with an LLM. And I submitted this talk because I was like, do you want to hear why we did that? That's just crazy. So the big thing here is why? Why would you do this? Why would you create a new database? First of all, why would you ever make a new database? And then why would you mash an LLM into it? And so the answer to that is a little story here. So we started with this open source project, which is a complete search engine in 2 kilobytes of JavaScript. And it really works, and you can go use it. And it's like a fully featured full text search engine in 2 kilobytes of JavaScript. It runs in the browser. And what people did with this is they were like, wow, that's actually cool. If I have like 10 megabytes of data, the index for that's not very big. Even up to 100 megabytes of data, the index for that's not very big. I could just download the entire index into the browser, and I don't have to run a search server. I don't have to have API calls. And my search response is incredibly fast because the whole thing runs in the browser. So that was really cool. People had fun with that. And then they were like, hey, actually, we need more. So we want like vector search, and then we want like RAG. So we evolved this thing. And today it does vector search and full text search in 2 kilobytes in the browser. But eventually we had to build a server because people wanted RAG. And I put RAG in a box here because that's what the server does. But it's also funny because we put RAG in the box, like in the search box. And I think a lot of people have done this now where you get, like you can search, but you can also ask questions or prompt the search box. So it's RAG in a box. And then we ran into all the problems that everybody building RAG has. Right? So if you've built a RAG system, like first of all, retrieval is hard, and then so I'll go through this a little bit. So to do retrieval right, you need a full text search engine and you need a vector search engine. And then you need a query translator that like figures out what you're trying to do and translates that into a nice query for your engines. And then you need another one for the vector side. So for example, here somebody prompts you like, I'm having a problem when installing this local machine. I have an NVIDIA, and you need to translate that into something. And then you need to vectorize that. And then you need to go run the similarity search. And to do that, you have to do embeddings on everything that you load into the database. So that's when you have to go deal with chunking. There's been all these talks about this, right? Like all week, chunking and quantization and how you get this stuff to scale. And then the other problem is that every prompt has to be vectorized after it gets translated so that you can look it up using similarity search or semantic search. And that has to run fast or else it's not cool. So if you're trying to do search, your search vectors have to be fast, and that's annoying. So you end up with this giant stack of stuff just to make a relatively simple RAG pipeline work. And that's all this stuff. And then the other thing is like once you did all that, what you get doesn't really that good. So you got to do all this other stuff. So you got to set guardrails. People don't ask stupid. Like you saw the news article about somebody asked a chat bot about something else, and it answers the questions. You have to set guardrails, and you have to save the sessions, and you have to understand who people are, and you have to run quality checks, and you end up with this big chain of thought. And so that's exactly what we did. Like we took the hammer of the moment because it's now, which is an LLM, and we just applied it to everything. And we applied chains to everything too. And that was really awesome. And we built like this really great RAG in a box. And the only problem with it is that for every prompt, it runs like 20 to 50 LLM calls. But it produces great results. It's just that it's super slow and it's really expensive. And anyone doing this ran into the same exact problem. And what the big companies did is they raised like hundreds of millions of dollars and just threw like a lot of money at it. And they got lots and lots of GPUs and they optimized every little thing. I have friends writing assembly code to try to make everything look faster. And we thought this is ridiculous. Smaller companies like the people that use our open source project can't do that. So we need to give them something better. So that is the why. And then the other thing that happened along the way that really blew the whole system up was people took RAG outside the box. And they said, hey, I don't just want to prompt the search box. I actually want these interactive UI controls that give me suggested prompts, or like I want to build these little controls into my chatbot that let you actually do stuff, or I want to do like generative suggestions and like video translations and other uses of the RAG in my UI. And that's what our company does for people. And that's the use case. But once everyone started doing this, it completely exploded the amount of work that needed to happen in that circle between the search RAG pipeline and the LLM. And you're going back and forth now, not just maybe 30 times, but maybe 70 times. And it's taking, and if you've used like a modern reasoning LLM, they're like, oh, thinking. And it takes like 30 seconds for them to think about something. But that doesn't work if you're trying to have some sort of interactive UI control. You can't sit there for 30 seconds and wait for it to think about what you want. So to solve that, this is the sort of the problem listing, and that's the why. And so to solve that, we built this database with an LLM built in. So this is a monolith. So you can download this and run it in Docker. So you run this monolith in Docker on your GPU. You can run this on your, like this is a MacBook M4. You can run it on that, or you can run it on like a gaming rig with an RTX or something. And what it has in it is all the pieces. So it's got a vector index and it's got a full text search index, and they run the complete set of algorithms, and it's got a key value store for keeping all the history and all of the configuration stuff. And then it's got a little layer on top of that. And then it's got a complete LLM stack on the other side with a full embedding stack and a full LLM runtime and a query translator and a full chain of thought framework and an embedded JavaScript engine so that you can script the whole thing. And like, it's crazy. It's this giant pile of everything you need. And so the point was, you don't have to build that yourself. You can just go download this open source thing called OramaCore, and you can build whatever you want on that, including these amazing loops. And what we built on top of that was, back to our RAG stack, making everything smart. So we're like, oh, when you ingest data, we'll detect the schema for you because we have an LLM. We'll just ask the LLM what the schema should be. And we'll chunk it for you too using the LLM. And we'll size the vectors using the LLM. Like, you can do everything smart because you now have an LLM in the system. And then when you query, we'll do the translation on the fly, and we'll do the query planning using the LLM. So like, why write algorithms to do query planning? You just ask the LLM to do it. Then same thing, we're gonna real-time evaluate the results using the LLM again. In fact, we run it like 15 or 20 times in parallel so that you stochastically evaluate the results. And then if they're not good enough, you can run the whole chain again. And you can do all that in like less than a second, because you're running right there. Because you took all the, like, every time you call OpenAI, you got like this 20 to 40 to maybe 100 millisecond response time, right? So now once you're in there, you took out all the latency. So you can run the cycles like super duper duper fast. And the other fun things you can build on top of this is like, if along the way, one of your rules or one of your tool calls or something detects that the user was trying to do something different, you can like, oh, I can abort and actually run the chain again. So you can just keep running the chain and forking the chain and doing all kinds of cool stuff, because you're running, like, you've got the data and the thinking engine like right there next to each other. So that's what made it all super fun and cool. And you can build stuff like that too. And that is why we did it. And then here's this bonus point. To get everything together, we run open source models, so you can switch the model out too. So if you like a better one or find one works better for you or something else, you can just, like, it supports anything that's running on Hugging Face, so you can just choose your model, and we do that for both the embedding and the generative side. And so this is a little summary of what you can have. So you get a full text search engine, a vector engine, a query translator, an embeddings generator, a full JavaScript runtime, a full RAG pipeline, and all the user segmentation tricks and the sort of action, which we call NLP triggers, which basically you can specify a trigger using natural language when you want it to go do something. And then that can call the JavaScript runtime and call a tool or whatever you want. And you get all of that baked into one one Docker file with one config file. So go have fun. And that is, that's Tom Hanks.